Hey guys, welcome to another colour along. This is a surprise colour along. I did this illustration for Daydreams in Colour. She's doing the RJ Hampson Collective, and it's called Summer Christmas Break. And it's Christmas in July because it's winter down south of the world where I live. And of course, we're just wondering what Santa's up to on his Christmas break. So here he is having a relaxing time. I think there's a couple of reindeer in the background getting up to all sorts of mischief. And I've just printed this out on some Derwent sketch paper, and I couldn't resist colouring that in. It's going to give me the, this is the unchangeable in my illustration. So I've started out with my reds. I think that was just a vermilion and a geranium. I'm just going to do this with alcohol markers because it's a whole lot of fun. So if you want to get involved with this, contact Daydreams. I'll put a link in the thing below, in the description below. Right, yeah, let's colour. I've got this Santa, and I've got this beautiful thing here. So I've got sunsets. And I've not used this paper with markers before, but it doesn't seem to bleed too much, which is good for staying within the lines, but I'm not sure about blending this sunset, which is going to be a fun thing to do. But I'm going to start with Santa. I'm going to bring in a lighter colour. This is coral, and I will put the colours in the top of the screen, but I'll also put the new colour, new Hoo colours, as well as this is the older set. This is their previous colours. All their colouring changed, but that's all right. So whatever set you're on, you can probably find something similar, or just look at it and pick one. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to go with my light coral. I'm just going to play with this shoulder here, and I might put some here as well while I'm going. And if, like me, you were a teenager in the 80s, then you'll remember Okinawa's. You know, I was never a fashion guru, I was always fashion challenged, but I remember the Okinawas because they had the vibrant board shorts with these beautiful little hibiscus images on them. They were a cool thing for a minute there, or at least in my mind they were. Anyway, Santa's discovered this beautiful, vibrant t-shirt and he's got it on. He's rolling with it. And I guess that's the beauty of downloading the single sheets. You can grab a whole heap of them from my website, rjhampson.com. But you can just print it out on whatever paper you feel like, and if you're wanting to test out new papers. I did consider doing this on a bleed proof, but I ended up going, oh, I'm going to try out this Derwent sketch because I bought a pad of it and I haven't used it before. You know what, I think I'm going to give him a red lid on his little Esky here. Oh, let's not do that. Let's make that like a typical blue Esky. But I will give him a red barbecue. So once again, I'm starting out with my light coral. Then I'm going to my vermilion. And a bit of geranium. I'm going to put that vermilion on this as well. It's just this room here. Could probably do with a little bit of geranium, couldn't it? Got a little red starfish down here. This little cute guy. All right, I got Santa here. And I'm going to bring in some of my Honolulu's. This is cotton pearl. Just nice skin colour. Give him some skin. I'm going to bring in this colour called Pastel Blush. And back to our cotton pearl. I think I'm going to bring in some lychee juice. Just need to get some colour into those cheeks, maybe even into that nose. Because let's face it, he's been out in the sun. He's probably got some a little bit too much sun. I'm tempted to give him white legs because his subtle legs have never seen the sun. But I think that could be too much. Just going to go with my cotton pearl. Maybe a little bit of that lychee juice just to shadow areas there. I think the lychee juice could work well on our sausages. What about if we mix that up with a bit of coral? A little lychee juice just to blend that a bit. All right, let's play with these flowers. This is a colour called Butter. Yeah, and this is a colour called Marigold Orange. All right, let's bring in some blues just for fun. This is a colour called Sky Blue. Probably a blue a little bit too dark. I'm going to bring in this colour called Arctic Blue. Yeah, a little bit more what I was hoping for. I'm just going to sort of blend that out. Okay, for the top of this Esky, and that blue as well. So this is Hydron Blue. Yeah, Hydron Blue. All right, we've got our Esky all blued in. What else do I think this surfboard's probably going to have a little bit of blue in it. I'm going to do that Arctic blue down these side rails. With a little bit of that Hydron Blue. And you know what about a really light blue? This is a colour called Frost. Let's play with that. A little bit too much. What about a blue-grey 11? Because ultimately this surfboard sort of wants to be white in the centre part there, doesn't it? But you don't want to just leave it white. So it's really light bluey grey. I want to get those lovely sweeping strokes in. Maybe. Right, let's get some green happening. This is pale moss. There's some green in there. Maybe some green in that logo. It's like a good brand of board there. I think it's rusty, a rusty board. Yeah, I think these palm trees would probably do well in that same green. So a bit of pale moss on the tips of leaves and things. Yeah, some of that fresh green. All right, and we've got these little hibiscus leaves. I'm going to tip them in the fresh green. And then put a jade green on top. Just going to blend that in a little bit. And then I'm just going to use this butter that we used before for the stamens of these little hibiscus flowers. And I think I'm going to go these flowers red, but I might do these flowers the same as the one on his head. So I'm going to go with the coral. And a little bit of that vermilion just in the centre. So you think I'm just going to do these the same? They look great. And it's very Christmas, isn't it? There's sort of a tongue-in-cheek Christmas vibe, Santa's in it, so it's not just Christmas themed, is it? It's a Christmas yellow, even though it's July. Well, let's look at our parrot. I'm going to take him on. I'm not even going to look for reference. I'm just going to paint him green on his body. This is fresh green. I'm going to go into a little bit of that jade green. I'm going to blend that a bit. And a little bit of that red. This is our coral. And I want some vermilion in there as well. I think some of that butter. I'm going to blend that with some marigold. And while I've got my marigold, let's make his drink a bit vibrant. But let's make this one's drink still vibrant, but a different green, whatever that is. Okay, we've got an olive in there. Let's make that some of that jade green. Oh, let's talk about coconuts. This is a colour called Camel. And it looks like Santa's gone with the health option in his drink rather than some sort of fluorescent thing. And this is a colour called Sandalwood. Actually, that probably could work as a coconut, couldn't it, with a bit of texture left. I was going to blend it, but let's just do that. Right, we've got some more coconuts sort of sitting up here, so let's get our sandalwood back out. No, this is our camel. I lie. All right, let's look at some of these palm trees. This is pastel brush. I think we used this in the skin of Santa. Now we're going to use on our palm tree bases or trunks. And I'm going to come back in with my sandalwood on top of that. What do you think? Well, we put some of that sandalwood. I mentioned it earlier. Maybe I should actually come through with it. I don't want too much though, just a little stripe along there. Probably need it in there too, don't we? All right, I'm going to do a sunset. What do you think? This sort of a blend. It's a bit OTT. Do I want to end it in blues though? That's the question. Maybe I do. Do I bring in some blues? All right, let's give that a whirl, see what happens. This is our butter that we used earlier. You make the sun that butter. And let's make like the first little bit of the horizon. I guess we should do sort of a because it looks like the end of a long day, doesn't it? And wherever they are, they're going to need a good sunset. Right, let's boost that up to a canary. A canary. And then I'm going to go into our marigold. And you can see I accidentally printed this double-sided and it printed out the intro page in the back. It's such a lovely sheet of paper, I didn't want to sort of waste it and throw it away and do it again. So the only thing is when it's wet you can see it, but once it all dries that stuff won't come through. Just adds interest while you're colouring. I'm just going to blend that back down. All right, then we're going to go into our papaya. Now this is fun. I'm enjoying this. But then, as I mentioned before, I'm partial to a little bit of alcohol marker. Yeah, a little bit higher with this. Because I did mention I was going to bring in some blues, which could go horribly wrong. Do I want blues or do I want sort of teals? I feel like a seafoam green. I might lose my thing, so I'm going to stick with my blue. Let's go with Arctic blue. Let's just bring in that marigold again, just to, no, the papaya, sorry, I lie, papaya. Just want that to be a bit neater. I'm going to bring back in the chisel nib of our Arctic blue and really start that blend. Blend, baby, blend. Yeah, that's better. This wonderful thicker paper. It means you can just blend to your heart's content. It doesn't bleed too much. Well, packing it so much in there, it's blended a bit, but that's all right. Well, there you go, there's the sunset. So I think what we need to do now is get some of those sunset reflections going on things like look at that belly. It needs to have some sunset reflecting off it, doesn't it? I think even Santa's hair is going to have some of that. Now this is our butter, sorry, that I'm putting in here. Even his skin's going to show up a little bit of that. Right, and then we've got a beach here, so let's just do that while we're here with our butter. And I guess this is a sand dune up here. All right, let's do some water. This is seafoam green. Actually, let's play with a little bit of fresh green while we're here. Fresh green, strangely enough, inside that wave. I want some of that yellow to be shining through the wave. And then I'm going to bring back in my seafoam green. Seafoam, seafoam. Yeah, let's base this whole background in seafoam. Before we do that, whoa, let's get our butter back. Let's get our canary back. So I want some sparkle on that. And some fresh green maybe towards this blending edge here. And then our seafoam. All right, I need a little bit darker than seafoam. This is turquoise green light. So still in the same sort of colour shade as the seafoam. I just want to bring some darker sections into our water as we can. All right, we've got some green hills. Let's bring our fresh green back in. Those green hills maybe. I'm just going to go and blend this in. I don't think we need to have a delineation there of where the beach starts and the grass ends sort of thing. Maybe we need some darker. I'm going to bring in some grass green. Just to bring some shadows and things into the play. Some grass-like textures going on. Yeah, that's better. Let's follow that through here. Yeah, I'm going to use that grass green on a little island out here. It's a tropical paradise. Come on, guys, tropical paradise. Right, let's maybe some greys. We could bring in some greys now. Just find some nice greys. This is oyster grey. I'm going to add in some platinum. No, this is antique silver. All right, these rocks are all going to be from sort of the same granite substructure, aren't they? And so we're going to use those same colours, oyster grey and antique silver. Really leave some of that little reflecting yellow that we put on there earlier. Now, what colours are reindeer? Let's have a look. We've got this oyster grey. Let's some of that oyster grey on our reindeer. His legs and his arms, leaving his belly for a different colour. I want it to be a bit lighter. I'm leaving some of that yellow that we added earlier to give me reflections of the sunset. This guy's zonked out in his hammock. And we got our little dude. He's come a cropper on a wave. Add in some of that oyster grey here as a shadow. Maybe some in his beard as well. Got these lovely brush nibs. Let's get that flick happening. The paper really loves the flick. It gives you that nice sort of automatic vignette. And sort of indicate hair up into there. Ooh, beautiful. It's looking great for the beard. Let's keep that up. Maybe just a little bit on the white bits here. And the top of his sandals. I'm bringing the antique silver. Just want a touch of more shadow on these little guys. And what if we do some pastel brush for their bellies? I think that'll work well. I'm going to put some in their snouts as well. Let's bring what have we got here? Stone grey. Stone grey toenails. And nose. All right, I've got my seafoam green. I'm going to give this guy some green pants. Because I can. Maybe a green umbrella. I think this guy's got some coral on his pants. Now let's do the same. This little rope around our hammock. Let's give it some stripes. Going to go vibrant with our hammock. Let's get some green in there. What about some canary? And then some of that butter. I'm going to bring the oyster grey back in because I want to add in some little bits of shadow. And let's get our Arctic blue on that surfboard. A silhouette vibe going on. All right, I'm liking my oyster grey. Let's get some barbecue knobs. Some shadow on our little propane tank here. And what do we need? Sandalwood. Let's do some sandalwood on our bottles. And some of that vermilion. back to our oyster grey, top of our can. All right, stone grey. Let's do a stone grey barbecue grill plate. And how good a cook is Santa Claus? Give him some dark smoke. Doesn't seem to be paying too much attention to his sausages, does he? And I think he's going to have a green. We're going with the red and green. We're going with Christmas themes here, guys, for his little apron. And some of our grass green. It's going to give us some nice shadow. His very, very impressive beard. And why not some grass green parts to his. In Australia we call them thongs, but I think they're called flip-flops in other parts of the world. I think a canary straw. Give him a nice bright straw. And also about his pants. What are we going to do with his pants? I think we should give him like he's wearing a denim. So this is frost. I'll leave the edges yellow. And then I'm going to bring in my Arctic blue. I just want to highlight some areas, or shadow some areas, sorry, that's going to allow me to do that. If we put some blue flecks in his beard just for fun. Right, blue, grey, 11. We used that in a surfboard. I'm going to just put that on our little chair here. I want it to be white, one of those white lounge chairs. But I don't want it to be white in my picture, so I'm adding that blue to it. All right, a little shell here. Let's get some of that blue there as well. Blue, grey, 11, this is. Right, I want to add some canary, because I got a little crab here. Let's make him bright. Canary. And I'm going to put in some marigold orange. Maybe a little touch of papaya. All right, let's bring in our butter. And I don't want to colour all the way down here, but I'm going to colour just around here with that butter to sort of have that sun reflecting, sort of tie in the whole illustration together. At least that is my plan. I just want to have sort of the background, or the base here, reflecting a little bit of that sunset. And also being sand at the same time. I'm going to use some of that flicky brush nib beautifulness. I'm going to add some butter on that little stamen while I've got my butter. I'm going to add some little flecks of more colour just to different areas. Because I really do want it to be a wash in that sunset. All right, let's get my jelly roll. This is a white jelly roll. Yeah, I'm going to add in some more. I want that to be white. I want some highlights just to pop little things out here and there. Now I'm just going to make this sun white. All right, I have some more jelly roll. These ones have sparkles in them because it's Christmas. And I sort of lost my fronds up here, so I'm going to add them in with sparkles. A little bit of sparkle in a few different places. Once again, it's Christmas, isn't it? I think what I really need is some red sparkle for this guy's nose. Well, let's give him a red nose too. I'm really just getting carried away now with red sparkles. But it is Christmas, and this is Christmas, summer Christmas break. Now, as I mentioned before, you can join in with Daydreams in Colour. She's on Instagram, and her July prompt is the magic of Christmas in July. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed colouring Santa Claus with me today. And no doubt I shall see you in another video. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. See you later.